Hello students. Today we will discuss about the nervous system and reproductive system of rat. So, let's start from the nervous system. Nervous system of rat. For the response and aware of environmental fluctuations, each and every animal needs a nervous system and sense organs. The rat has a well developed nervous system originated from the embryonic ectoderm, which is consist of it can be divided into three parts: central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomous nervous system. Central nervous system includes brain and spinal cord. Peripheral nervous system includes the nerves arising from the brain and spinal cords, and the autonomous nervous system includes the sympathetic and parasympathetic nerves, which control the involuntary actions. First of all, we will discuss about the central nervous system. Central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. Brain is a short, broad and rounded in form of whitish in color, made up of nervous tissue. It is completely fills the roomy cranial cavity. The brain of rat is surrounded by the two mennings, the piameter and duramator, much more highly developed and the relatively larger. Externally, brain can be divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain or Prosencephalon includes the olfactory lobe and cerebral hemisphere. The cerebral hemisphere are with superficial convolutions made up of sulci and gyri. उभार और खांच इनसे मिलकर के बना होता है, उभार और खांच पाए जाते हैं इसमें. The nervous system is seen in the dissected rat. This is the brain and this is continue with the spinal cord, goes in the tip of the vertebral column. This is the brain. This is the anterior most part of brain, olfactory lobe, and this is cerebral hemisphere, and this is midbrain, and this is hindbrain. The cerebral hemisphere function in the rat as the intelligence, willpower and memory, imagination, knowledge, conscious sensations, micturition and defecation. These are the main functions of Prosencephalon or anterior brain. The middle brain or mesencephalon consists of four optic lobes and a diencephalon. Diencephalon have the epithalamus, thalamus and hypothalamus, and two optic nerves originated and cross each other by forming optic chiasma. They are lateral in position because they have been pressed outward by the cerebral hemisphere, which meet posteriorly with the cerebellum. There are a large rounded form. Both optic nerves remain connected together by a transverse optic commissure. On the ventral side, pituitary gland is located, which is further divided into three parts: anterior pituitary, middle pituitary and posterior pituitary. The function of midbrain are the hunger, to control hunger, thirst, temperature, satisfaction, fatigue, love, hate and copulation. Now hindbrain. Hindbrain is consist of cerebellum, pons varoli and medulla oblongata. The cerebellum is highly developed, large, folded and divisible into vermis and small floculi. The vermis has transverse grooves forming the fold and ridges, so that the superficial gray matter is greatly increased in extent. The convoluted cerebellum indicates the delicate sense of equilibrium and the great power of muscular coordination in rat. Cerebellum extends far backward, covering a large part of medulla oblongata, which descends almost vertically from it to join the spinal cord. The main function of hindbrain is the perform so many functions in rat. For example, as a heartbeat, it control heartbeat, breathing, peristaltic movement in the internal organs and the blood pressure, swallowing and gland secretions and vomiting. Now the spinal cord. The spinal cord is the continuation of medulla oblongata and extends throughout the full length of the vertebral column. Spinal cord is long due to the long vertebral column. Histologically, it is formed in the inner H-shaped gray matter and outer white matter. Peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system includes the nerves arising from the central nervous system or nerves arising from the brain and spinal cord. It includes the 12 pair of cranial nerves and 37 pair spinal nerves. Cranial nerves which arise from the cranium or arise from the brain. These are olfactory, optic, and this is in the sequence, it is a particular sequence: olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trochlear, trigeminal, abducine, facial, auditory, glossopharyngeal, vagus, spinal accessory, and hypoglossal. The main function of hindbrain is cranial nerve to control various impulses from the brain, and spinal nerve serves to the control of reflex activities in rat. Now, third one is the autonomous nervous system. The autonomic nervous system of rat includes the sympathetic and parasympathetic system. It contains nerves and ganglions, some other nerves and ganglions which connected to the spinal cord. Fibers link up to the spinal nerve with the ganglion and spinal cord. The sympathetic nerves supply chiefly in the urinogenital, alimentary canal, respiratory tract, and circulatory system. The main function of the autonomous nervous system is to control chiefly in the involuntary actions of internal organs of rat. Now, reproductive system of rat. Rats are unisexual animals having separate sexes. Male and female are separate, and male are in the male reproductive organs are in male, and female reproductive organs are in female. Reproductive organs of the male includes the testis, epididymis, vasa deferens, seminal vesicle, and apenis. Testes are made up of minute coiled seminiferous tubules in which sperms are produced. They continue with a coiled tube called epididymis, which connect to the and store sperms. The tubular vasa deferens move sperm from the epididymis to urethra, which carry sperm through the penis to the out of the body. The lumpy brown gland of seminal vesicle are located, and the gland below the urinary bladder is called prostate gland. It is partially wrapped around the penis, and the seminal vesicle and prostate gland secrete material that form the seminal vesicle, that is seminal fluid, that is also called as semen. And this is the male reproductive organs, and these are the testes. The testes are outside the body, and this is the vasa deferens and epididymis and vasa deferens open into the seminal vesicle with the help of prostate gland and Cowper gland, and this is open to the penis, urinogenital orifice or penis. In the female reproductive system, the ovaries, two ovaries are connected with the oviduct, coiled long oviduct, both oviduct are open into the uterus, and uterus open through vagina to outside. Female reproductive organ having the ovaries, oviduct, and uterus. Ovaries are white color in color and suspended from the dorsal wall of the short mesentery called mesovarium on either side of the vertebral column. Germinal epithelium ovary germinate follicle developing in various stages of development. Oviduct, the left oviduct is long and it attached with the dorsal wall of the body by the ligament mesotubarium, and they form the Mullerian duct of the embryo. Anterior end of the oviduct open to the coelom by expanded funnel-like opening called ostium. The remaining part of the oviduct is thick and muscular and coiled. Various glands are present in the inner lining of the oviduct. When an ovum is matured, the ovarian follicle was to liberate into the coelom, and the ovum enter into the ostium while passing down to the oviduct, and ovum become the invested in the secretions of various glands. Each oviduct open into the uterus. Breeding season. There is no breeding season in rat, but too hot and too cold weather reduce its breeding. Rats reach sexual maturity at 8 to 10 weeks of the age. Mature female rat come in the heat every 4 or 5 days throughout the year unless they are pregnant. Copulation occur in rat. Male rat has a copulatory organ penis, and fertilization is internal and takes place in oviduct. A disc shaped chorioallantoic placenta is formed, and 6 litters at a time born in the rat. Its gestation period is 21 to 24 days depending on its species and depending on its season. 21 to 24 days are the gestation period. This is all about the reproductive system of rat. For this, the section B is also finished. Now, in the next lecture, we will start section C. Thank you. Thank you very much.